Welcome back. Today is the last day of Mental Health Awareness Week, and this morning we're discussing how it affects identity and the challenges of growing up in an anxious world.
And joining us now is Carrie Berk. She is 22 and the author of a new book called Mindfire. It's a look at life with anxiety and OCD and could potentially be a roadmap for others who may be struggling. Carrie, thanks so much for being here. Good morning.
Good morning.
So let's just get down to what actually led you to tackle what is not an easy endeavor, writing a book. How did you come to write Mindfire?
Well, I was the class of 2020. I didn't have a prom or a graduation, and I was really suffering at the time, as were a lot of people in my generation. One day I was sitting on the couch and just had a really intense panic attack and didn't really understand what was happening. And one panic attack led to several, and soon enough it became a pattern, and that's when I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. Started learning a little bit more about what I was going through. I mean, approximately 50% of young adults suffer from anxiety.
50%? Yeah.
Which is half of us. So eventually I realized that this is something that people don't really know enough about. We see it in the form of a hashtag like mental health matters, but we don't really see enough people coming out and sharing their true vulnerable stories, which is what I hope to accomplish with Mindfire.
Well, so that's actually what I want to ask you about. Being an influencer, I am sure a big part of doing that work is being open and sharing things about your life that maybe the average person wouldn't. And I would imagine that is a challenge, maybe just at first, but just in general as well. Writing a book like this, you are putting, as you said, your vulnerable self out there. Was this a challenge, or did your work almost prepare you for being open and vulnerable?
I think the fact that I've been in the public eye from such a young age really helped, but you know, it's not easy being vulnerable, regardless if you have a following or not. Even coming out and talking to one friend about your anxiety can be really tough. I think what drove me was realizing that this wasn't something that is being talked about enough, and I kind of feel a responsibility to be that leader of my generation and educate others about the parts of anxiety that aren't seen so that people don't have to suffer in silence.
Well, one of the things that you write about is learning to separate thoughts from feelings, which, you know, that's easier said than done, right? So tell us what exactly that means. How did that help you?
So you can think to yourself anything. You can think the sky is purple, and that might not necessarily hold any truth. It's important to recognize that thoughts aren't necessarily facts. A lot of the times the thoughts we're having cause a lot of panic and anxiety. But recognizing first and foremost that it's not our reality, I think helps us separate that thought, which is just a thought, not necessarily a truth, from those feelings of panic and anxiety attached to them. And that way we can just allow our thoughts to flow freely.
And you write about the importance of having positive people in your life. I mean, I think all of us would say just from afar that, yes, it's great to be surrounded by positivity. But there's a deeper meaning to it from your perspective about community and feeling loved and supported with the people around you, right?
Yeah, I mean, nobody can do it alone, especially since we're living in such an intense time where mental health and anxiety is on the rise. It's more important than ever to surround yourself with people who lift you up rather than tear you down. And it doesn't have to be, you know, a group of friends in person. It could be following a social media account, any mental health account that inspires you. There are so many ways to reach out for help and to kind of bolster your spirits.
So you write that not every day is going to be perfect, and it's not supposed to be. How do you stay grounded in that idea?
I mean, it's true. Not every day is going to be perfect. I think remembering that a lot of us go through this. A lot of us are suffering. You're not alone. We hear that phrase, you know, you're not alone all the time. But I think reading a story like mine really helps people recognize why you're not alone, and coming out and sharing these specific vulnerable details of our mental health stories is what's really going to help others, not just this generalized advice, these statistics. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm just a real girl sharing my struggles, and I feel like that's what's truly going to make a difference, not just reading data charts.
Well, I'm sure your book will make a difference. Carrie Berk, thank you so much for being here. It's really nice to see you, and we appreciate you taking the time and waking up early for us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carrie. And Mindfire is on sale right now. We'll be right back.